Why aye lads, it is Mikeman WBA here, back again with the next episode of WWE Draft Wars alongside my good friend Nathan.
Alright mate, I'm from Birmingham.
Yeah, close enough. We are back with Monday Night Raw, the show after the very exciting WWE Unforgiven pay-per-view. And we're going to jump straight into the show that's opened up by Kurt Angle.
So, Kurt Angle's standing in the ring at the Williams Arena somewhere in America. And he says that last night at Unforgiven, Brock Lesnar defeated Rusev in a brilliant contest to retain the Universal Championship. So now we need to crown our next number one contender, who will challenge Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Well, we have 8 top contenders on Monday Night Raw. So tonight we will have 2 fatal 4-way matches. One right now, one in our main event. Those matches are Andrade Cien Almas versus John Cena, Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose against Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor and Luke Harper.
Yeah, good opening segment by Curtis Angle.
Yeah, angle and an angle.
And we move on to that opening contest.
This gets a 76B- when about that had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crude. Finn Balor defeats Dean Ambrose, Drew McIntyre and Luke Harper in 14.5 minutes, pinning Luke Harper with a coup de grace. During the match we had Seth Rollins run in and attack Dean Ambrose, so he clotheslines him over the guardrail when he's out at the ringside area brawling with Luke Harper, and Luke's just like, alright then. Makes my job easier. He still loses, bless him. But Seth Rollins brawls in the crowd with Dean Ambrose and then brings him back to the ringside area where he puts Dean's head on a chair and curb stomps the man's skull clean into that black stainless steel chair. Big win for Finn Balor though. Who will Finn fight next week on Raw? Find out in tonight's main event.
Yeah, some good in-ring ratings by Dean and Finn, and some average ones by Drew and Luke. I reckon Drew will start to get up there when he starts getting some big wins under his belt.
Exactly.
Dean improving his technical as well, 76B-, not a bad opening match.
Exactly.
Next up,
56C-. So, Kurt Angle's backstage. We have an angle with an angle. As the Revival walk into his office, they take his mobile phone and they turn it off. They end the call that he was in. Who was Kurt on the phone to? Who knows? But the Revival ask him for one last match against the club. They fought twice in the last month and lost both times. Kurt says, you know what? You win this match, then fine. You know what? I'll let you have it. But you have to promise to win. Because I don't want to book the same matches each and every week. This isn't SmackDown. This is Monday Night Raw. And so the Revival will fight the club, with the winners battling the Usos at the Royal Rumble event for the tag team titles in a month's time.
I'm very insulted by the insinuation that you say that I book the same matches every week.
Yeah.
It's most weeks, not every week. I'll expect my apology in written next week.
In written.
Yeah.
Up next we have a 61C in a match that I expected better from. Bray Wyatt defeats Shelton Benjamin in just over 7 minutes with the sister Abigail. Bray Wyatt and Shelton Benjamin don't seem to click, and it made for an awkward bout, unfortunately, which led to their in-ring performances being absolutely abysmal. I expect much better from these two men.
Yeah, 65 for Bray, 50 for Shelton, for those of you that can't see. No worker improvements, unfortunately, and a match rating of a 61C.
Not good enough. But then, we have an angle. Ooh.
And in that angle, we have Bray Wyatt again.
So, Bray Wyatt stood in the ring, he picks up a microphone, and he goes to address the shocking allegations that have been made against him. He says that he's a man, you know, there are some things that might not be normal about him. He has a bit of a long beard, he walks with a lantern, he sleeps with the lights on. You know, he's just a normal guy, And then out walks Maria Kanellis to her old music, which, if you remember, was basically a song about her having really nice legs. And out comes Maria Kanellis with a song that personally offends me. And she says, Bray, what have you done with my husband? Where's my husband? And she starts screaming at him and screaming at him. And she threatens to kill him. And then Bray Wyatt just laughs. He laughs some more. And he laughs some more. And he walks away. But as he does, a letter, it just floats from the rafters down into the ring. And it lands clean towards the corner of the ring. It bounces off one of the ropes when it lands, and she looks at it. She opens up the envelope, and it's just a picture of Mike Kanellis, but with a sheep mask on. Bah!
That's Royal Mail delivery for you.
Bray Wyatt performed well in that.
He did indeed. We move on.
We then have a 69C+. Nice. Isn't about that had decent wrestling but didn't have much heat. Alexa Bliss defeats Ember Moon and Sasha Banks, pinning Ember Moon with a Twisted Bliss to eliminate Ember Moon from the Championship Chase Series. So, next week it will be Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks, and the winner will battle Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship at the Royal Rumble. 3 quite good in-ring performances there. And who will Ronda's opponent be? Leave your comment prediction down below in the comments.
Very impressive for Alexa, actually. 69. Same as the match rating.
Nice.
As we move on to the next segment.
We have a 71C+ where the Usos are backstage to celebrate their championship victory. They're having a little party, and some of your favourite superstars are there, such as the entire Cruiserweight division. Literally, every single one of them, because there's fuck all else for them to do tonight. And they're all getting drunk with the Usos, who are celebrating their championship win. An argument breaks out, and the Usos go, hell nah, brother. And they just walk out of the little locker room, and they go drink somewhere else. As they do, they walk past illustrious Raw superstar. Who's the superstar, Mike? Do you want to guess who the superstar is?
You know what? There's so many to choose from, I just couldn't tell you.
Well, it's only No Way Jose.
No
and if
way.
anyone knows how to party, it's Jose. I know, right? No way. It's Jose. And the 3 of them start dancing about. They start drinking. He hands Big Jose a lovely can of beer. He cracks one open with the boys, and the 3 of them start walking together, high fives each other. Jose touches the belt, and then they dance into the sunset.
You know what? It's angles like this that we do, and then you have to wonder, how do we not have more subscribers?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I just don't.
We carry on.
We then have a huge tag team match where the Club are defeated by the Revival in just shy of 8 minutes, when Dash Wilder defeated Luke Gallows with a quick cradle. The Revival showed excellent chemistry team together. Those in-ring performances were absolutely average, I'm not gonna lie. And the match kind of sucked a bit, which sucks. But the Revival are your new #1 contenders to the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Yeah, Gallows improving his performance skills.
Probably for the best.
I think in terms of the match ratings, probably just a little bit of poor form by the Revival, a couple of losses in a row, mixed with a fairly short match, probably damaged the rating there.
Yeah.
We will continue on.
We then have a 77B where Dolph Ziggler has stood backstage for an interview, and he claims that the fans should be thanking him for being the Intercontinental Champion that they deserve once again. He says that he did it all on his own, as Drew McIntyre looks a little bit confused, as Dolph Ziggler clearly he's got a concussion again. But Dolph Ziggler says that John Cena doesn't care about the Intercontinental Championship. He cares about going to Hollywood, about being in the big films like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does. He doesn't care about the Intercontinental Championship. He doesn't care about Monday Raw. But Dolph Ziggler cares about Monday Raw, and he cares about Monday Night Raw as well, because he's a real jam-up guy. 77B. Dolph Ziggler and John Cena will be in action in tonight's main event, as will be Andrade Cien Almas and Seth Rollins. Will those comments come back to bite Dolph? Who knows?
I'm sure it couldn't possibly happen.
We then have a 72B- when in an extremely short match, Rusev defeats Kane in just under 5 minutes with a match cut kick. Kane and Rusev have great chemistry there, and a big win for Rusev. And what performance did Rusev get there, Mike?
That is an 87, a very impressive performance.
An 80-fucking-7.
Kane
Yes, Bulgarian daddy.
Kane with the 61, which is actually surprisingly good for Kane.
Actual 87.
And Rusev improving in his performance skills.
Can we just discuss that in 87?
Hey, he's the match daddy.
Fucking 87, yo, mad.
I think it is probably best that joke was ignored. We move on
to an 80B. Rusev then apologises to his fans following the match. He says that he let them down at Unforgiven, and he hopes that he won't be unforgiven. He hopes that his fans can realise that maybe it just wasn't his night. And then Paul Heyman comes up and says, or maybe you just aren't good enough. The beast Brock Lesnar, he conquered Japan, he conquered WWE, he conquered UFC, he came back and he conquered WWE some more. He's the most dominant Universal Champion in history. And that won't change. And ain't no little Bulgarian wannabe will ever defeat Brock Lesnar. And Rusev just walks away, he looks a bit dejected, and it seems that his loss to Brock Lesnar, it's gone to him.
Yeah.
Big Daddy Ruru. He's a bit sad.
He's a good lad.
Big saddy Ruru.
He's a good lad at heart. It's a shame.
Yes.
We move on. Very impressive 80B.
75B- where John Cena has stood backstage for an interview. He says that everything Dolph Ziggler said is a lie. But the fans are used to that. It's no surprise. John Cena was Intercontinental Champion for one short moment, and he will get that back. But first, there's one last thing on his mind. There are two things that he hadn't done in the WWE, the Intercontinental Champion and Universal Champion. He has one of those things left, and tonight he moves one step closer to completing every single belt.
Yeah, 75B- for John. Not actually as good as I thought it would be.
He should have done better. It's not good enough.
Maybe length. I don't know.
John Cena has been heard to be struggling with length.
Yeah, allegedly. Just going to throw that out there.
Allegedly.
And we move on to the main event of the evening. Hopefully. Yes.
79B. In a bout that had great wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, Seth Rollins defeats John Cena, Dolph Ziggler and Andrade Cien Almas when Rollins pinned Ziggler with a curb stomp. So finally, Seth Rollins eliminates the factor of Dean Ambrose, and he gets the win. Seth Rollins will battle Finn Balor next week on Raw. In a big match there, a solid match, some good in-ring performances there from Cena and Rollins. And yeah, can't complain about that.
Yeah, very good. Almas still hanging in there with some of the big boys. He's slightly below them, but he's going to be getting there fairly soon, I think.
Yeah, he's only a mid-carder.
Unfortunately, no worker improvements. But, Nathan, there appears to still be a couple of minutes left on the clock. Raw couldn't have finished early, could it?
But I was going home. Like, why is there more stuff? I didn't boot this shit. Wait, what the fuck? Whoa. So Seth Rollins is celebrating his victory.
It's a shoot,
and out
brother.
comes Brock Lesnar. And out comes Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman, he waddles his fat little arse to the announce booth. He takes his headphones and he sits down. And he starts commentating as Brock Lesnar marches to the ring. He sees Almas on the floor, pulling himself up to his feet. And he clotheslines Almas, dropping the Mexican sensation to the floor. John Cena gets up and shoulder tackles Brock. As soon as Brock gets in the ring, but Brock shakes it off. And he starts throwing John Cena around. He German suplexes him once, twice, 3 times a suplex. He then hoists him up for the F5, but a big super kick from Dolph Ziggler. A big one. But wait, what's that? It's Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins hits a big knee on Dolph Ziggler, and out comes Drew McIntyre as Brock F5s John Cena. And Drew McIntyre, he starts fighting Seth Rollins and he hits a huge Claymore on the outside. Drew McIntyre then squares off with Brock Lesnar and the lights go out. And when they come back on, who is in the ring but the demon Finn Balor, standing tall over both Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. But wait, it's not the demon Finn Balor. It's just a guy dressed up as the demon Finn Balor. As Brock Lesnar suplexes Finn Balor's and Drew McIntyre's, and then he gets Finn Balor's up, F5s him. Out comes the real Finn Balor, but he gets beaten up too. He brings the fight to Brock for a while, but he's already been the match tonight. He's hurt, he's beaten down, and Brock F5s him, and it's all over. Brock Lesnar lays out 7 of Raw's top superstars.
6.
7.
6 and the Finn Balor clone.
Exactly. 7.
Sorry, the Finn Balor clone is one of Raw's top superstars.
Yes, it is.
Can't wait to see him next week.
So, we got a 79B increase in the popularity in a fuckload of regions. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Monday Night Raw. I hope you enjoyed it.
A very impressive Monday Night Raw, I have to say.
And there's the villain Marty Scurll. Look at him standing there.
The rather large Shah Samuels. A quick look. Jonathan Cena really likes Andrade Cien Almas.
Good lad, John Cena.
Yeah.
Diversity.
Yeah.
His favourite dance group.
Yeah, it's a shame what happened to that guy's brother, but
Yeah, he went to jail, didn't he?
I honestly can't remember. I just know something bad happened.
Do you know who
That'll
else
be all.
went to jail?
I'm not saying... No, we're going to end it here before Nathan says something incriminating. See you guys in the next one. Be there or be a Raw fan. Goodbye.
Aye.